Welcome to this episode of God, Family, and Guns. Today we are back at one of our favorite places, Blue Steel Guns and Ammo in Raytown, Missouri, with one of our favorite people, Maggie. And we haven't been here for a while, and we thought this might be a fun thing to do. Now, gentlemen, listen up. This video is for you. You're going to want to bookmark it, save it, tag it, and send it to the lady in your life, because we are here today to talk about why guns are actually a good investment, and to talk about why the women in your life should be supportive of this habit of yours. So, now Maggie, I know that there are a lot of women out there like myself who, you know, when my husband and I first got together, and he's always acquiring an additional firearm, and I'm thinking, you have plenty. I'm not sure why, you know, don't you have enough already? And he's always explaining to me, no, you don't understand, this is a wonderful investment. So as time has gone on, I will admit I've started to see a little bit of the wisdom in this, and I thought perhaps we could talk today about why actually guns are a good investment. So can you share kind of your thoughts on that?
Well, they're a phenomenal investment, and you get excellent returns. We'll get to that in a minute, though. The first thing when buying a gun, though, I'd consider them mostly in the same category as seatbelts and fire extinguishers.
Okay.
You pray that you will never, ever, ever need to use that. But in the rare event that you do need one, voila, there it is, you have it. So from a safety perspective, I think it is a phenomenally good investment. And the more you can get to, the more places you have them, which would mean you'd have to buy more guns to have them in multiple places.
The better prepared you are.
Exactly. And I pray that no one ever has to use them to defend themselves. But there you have it. There's all kinds of people in the world, good and bad. So
exactly. So now for the person who has moved beyond the safety issue, and now we're speaking to the gun hobbyists, those who it's a collector's item for them. This is, you know, something that they are passionate about as a hobby of theirs. Let's talk about, you know, when you stand on the outside, particularly if maybe you're the wife or the girlfriend, and this is not something that you are necessarily passionate about, it can look like an awful lot of money.
Oh.
So let's talk about how guns retain their value. Do they tend to go up in value? Can you offer some perspective there to help with that?
definitely, I can. A lot of firearms are very valuable. A lot of firearms are rare. A lot of people put high dollar price tags on some of these firearms and pay a lot of money to own these firearms. I am in a very unique position on this side of the counter.
We're talking to you today.
I get to see some phenomenal stories come in. Some widows or some children from the family whose parents have passed away, and suddenly they are left with a very large collection of firearms. They don't like firearms. They want to get rid of firearms. So they bring them in here, and first we tell them, hey, let's do an appraisal. Do you have any idea what he paid for this? Mm-hmm. This is a bit where it gets like Antiques Roadshow, and it's my favorite part, because they're like, well, he got this one back when he was in his 20s.
Everyone has a story, right?
A great story. And then when they come in and find out that the gun that their, deceased father paid $65 for, an unheard of amount of money in that day for this gun, and suddenly it's now worth over $2,000. It's now worth over $6,000. It's now worth an astronomical sum of money. You're sitting on a tidy little gold mine. I don't know about anybody else out there, but ladies usually tend to outlive the guys. I'm
No, we
planning.
won't. That's another video.
That's
why that may be. But
totally another video. We do far less stupid things than they do, but I'm planning on outliving my husband. I'd like him to buy very nice, very quality things, so that way I'm getting a lot more bang for my buck, so to put it. The things you want to look for are going to be rare items that were made in limited quantities or are no longer in production. The guys that have those deep-seated passion for those old military rifles that look like they've been drugged through the mud, that are a hunk of junk and look like you could probably use them for scrap wood in the fireplace, those actually turn over a tidy sum of money.
So when your husband, when we tend to go on road trips as we're driving down the highway, it's really interesting how often my husband will choose that the place where we should stop and stretch our legs is, oh look, there's a pawn shop, oh look, there's a gun store, why don't we go take a little break and go in there? So you're saying that when he comes across something perhaps at the local pawn shop, an old gun that looks like it's not worth anything, and he's all like, his eyes light up and he believes he's found a diamond hiding in the
Holy Grail.
Yes, you should listen to him is what you're saying.
Yes, you really should. Have you ever gone thrift shopping and you're just going through the racks and suddenly
there's a Coach purse in perfect condition?
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
men, but yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And it's phenomenal. It's in great condition. They no longer made that one. It's a limited run. You've had your eye on that one.
You know what it is when you see it.
And you stole it for a tiny little sum of money. $50. Less. $5 in some cases. This is what the guys are after. Now, unlike our beautiful Coach purses and those really gorgeous Louis Vuitton shoes,
exactly,
their guns are going to hold their money a lot longer. How many purses are sitting in our closets? How many shoes are sitting in our closets? How many articles of clothing do we have that still have the price tags on them? Maybe with the sale price to show that we scored them for a fraction of that price, and it's still hanging in our closet, and maybe we've only ever worn them once, or just take it out to look at it and never use it. These guys are onto something. They've got a far better investment for their money than we did on our clothes and our shoes and our purses. So,
and you were talking about kind of those characteristics of really from the true investment, the ones that are going to bring the biggest return, kind of these rare items or the ones that were in limited quantity, no longer in production. But just in general, do guns tend to hold their value?
They do. Now, there's a fine line. You really have to know what you're looking for. Things that are mass-produced in large quantities, yes, you can pay a lot of money for a brand new SIG or a brand new Glock. But in 20 years down the line, that new SIG or that new Glock, they've flooded the market with those. So those will not retain their value as well as something a little more rare or unusual might.
Law of supply and demand.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if he has to have every single one of the Glocks and every single caliber with specific serial numbers, that's actually cool. And like starting a stamp collection or a coin collection, when you have the full set there, that can be worth some money. But getting to the point where that's going to be worth some money might take some time. It might not be a return that you're going to see in your generation, but it might be something that the next generation or the generation after that is going to see a huge return on. Some of these guys, they're playing the investment game for the long haul. It's not just a quick turnaround. There are some quick turnarounds too. Those tiny little pawn stores and those little mom and pop gun shops where people come in and trade, those are gold mines. Check them frequently. You never know what sort of amazing things you're going to find. And yeah, it totally might look like junk to us, but it's actually got some value to it, especially to the guys that do the research and know what they're looking for.
And so it really is. It's just like with everything else, you have to be smart. You have to do your research. You have to know what you're looking for. But kind of the takeaway for the women out there with the men in our lives, is that, you know, maybe actually this is something that you should be supportive of because it might be helping with your retirement in the years down the road.
Very much so. Very much so. Case in point, a school teacher that didn't like firearms at all discovered that her husband had been hoarding almost a garage full of them in perfect climate-controlled condition. And when she came across the safe, she was incredibly unhappy until she had them appraised and found out what they were worth. And he had his nice little list of what he paid for them. And she was quite shocked, very thrilled, and able to take her whole family, her children and grandchildren, on some very nice trips for the next 10 years. So
we should all be so lucky, right?
Oh, we will be,
yeah.
Especially if we let them keep buying. The key is quality, not always quantity. Quantity is good in some cases, but quality is better.
Maggie, thank you so much. A pleasure as always. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. You can now find us on Facebook. You can also visit our website at www.godfamilyandguns.org. Please also, if you want to support this channel, you can consider becoming a patron. There is a link below. But most importantly, we take prayer requests, and so please don't ever hesitate to send that in. And finally, Maggie, you're always so gracious letting us come to Blue Steel, so we'll be including a link to their website as well.